This is our third take. Um, I want to tell you a story here in a minute, but before I do, I want to frame it with a couple of verses, and they are 1 John 4:16. So we have known and believe the love that God has for us. God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Second, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For the Spirit of God, who is love, for the Spirit of God that gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. I think this is important to the story because God is love is important. And our spirit is not one of cowardice, not one of timidity. It is one of power, born of love and self-discipline. I'm going to tell you a story that C.S. Lewis wrote. I've been a bit obsessed with C.S. Lewis, I admit, in the last several weeks because I'm taking a class in C.S. Lewis. And the thing about C.S. Lewis is Lewis allowed me to be a Christian because when I was a young man and beginning to have doubts, there was one question that I really needed to answer. And he didn't answer it fully, but he answered it enough so that I could believe. And you could say my Christian journey started there because of C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis was an atheist a good part of his life, and a serious atheist. He was a man that knew his material pretty well. Not pretty well, really well. And it took him years and years and years and years to become a Christian, in part because he knew a lot about pain. His mother died when he was 9. He went through a bunch of boarding schools, and some of them were pretty awful. And he fought in World War I, the war to end all wars, the war that destroyed so many lives and was so useless. And he fought in the Battle of Somme, one of the bloodiest battles of World War I. And he was wounded when a British shell, his own people, wounded him and killed 2 of his friends. And he went on to become a professor of medieval and Renaissance literature in Cambridge. He was no slouch. And one of the indications that he was no slouch was that he could take very complicated ideas and make them something a child could read and understand. And so I'm going to read you a bit of a story from a book that he wrote called The Silver Chair. And in it, this young woman, this girl, is being bullied, she and another boy, whose name is Eustace. And they run away from the bullies and they go through a gate and they find themselves in another world, Narnia. And in Narnia, Narnia is run by Aslan. Aslan is God in this world. And so anyway, they're wandering around and they come to a cliff, and Jill is playing around on the edge of the cliff. And Eustace, the boy, tries to stop her, but in so doing, he falls off the cliff. Now, he's not killed, but Jill does not know that. And so she's wandering around and she's tired, she's hungry, and she finally comes to a stream, and this wonderful, marvelous, terrific, bubbly stream. Picture it in your mind. I've been into a couple of places where you could actually drink out of the stream. It was cool, crystal clear. It's nature right there. Beautiful. And there it is. And right next to the stream that she really wants to drink at is a lion. And she has no idea who the lion is. So Aslan speaks first, and he says, "If you're thirsty, drink." For a second she stared here and there, wondering who had spoken, and then the voice said again, "If you're thirsty, come and drink." And she realized that it was the lion speaking. Anyway, she'd seen its lips move this time, and the voice was not like a man's. It was deeper, wilder, stronger, a sort of heavy, golden voice. It didn't make her any less frightened than she had been before, now that the lion talks, right? But it made her frightened in a slightly different way. Are you not thirsty? Said the lion. I'm very thirsty, said Jill. Then drink, said the lion. May I? Could I? Would you mind going away if I do? Said Jill. The lion answered this by only a look, a very low growl. And as Jill gazed at its motionless bulk, she realized that she might as well have asked the whole mountain to move aside for her convenience, and the delicious rippling noise of the stream was driving her nearly frantic. Will you promise not to do anything to me if I do come? Said Jill. I make no promise, said the lion. Jill was so thirsty now that without noticing it, she had come a step nearer. Do you eat girls? She said. I've swallowed up boys and girls, women and men, kings and emperors, cities and realms, said the lion. He didn't say it as if it was boasting, or as if it were sorry. He just said it. I daren't come and drink, said Jill. Then you will die of thirst, said the lion. Oh dear. I suppose I must go and look for another stream then. There is no other stream, said the lion. We fear, and fear keeps us from reaching the stream. We have to take a step forward and face those fears if we are going to drink. Now, Aslan is God, and it is wise to fear God because the consciousness that brought the world into being with a breath is more powerful than we will ever know, except that we know one thing, at least about the mind of God, and that is that God is love. You were invited to drink. Pluck up your courage and go to the stream. God bless.